Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Felipe speaking. I am Brazilian and I've had this channel for about 3 months now, and I was only doing my drawing tutorials in Portuguese, and the reason why is because most of the people that ask me for tips and advices on how to draw stuff are also Brazilian. Plus, there are so many amazing artists out there doing already their own tutorials, and I felt a little shy to go against them. And you know what? I thought about it, and there's no such thing, because everybody has their own ways to assimilate and learn the process of drawing and the techniques that are involved with it. And so I feel like perhaps I have something to show people. And since I've done most of the drawing already while I was talking and introducing myself to you guys, I'm gonna be doing some tips and advices on how to ink and how to color your character from here on. I started doing this drawing on a very big piece of paper, and I decided to scan it and minimize it to a smaller size, and I'm using a light box to pretty much keep only the good lines, not the sketchy lines, and make the drawing a little more clear. So once I'm done with that, I start doing the outlines, the border lines. And the reason why I do border lines for the outlines of the character is because since I want the character to stand out, you know, compared to the rest of the drawing. I want the character to be like in front of you, like, and using border lines really does the trick. And once I'm done with the border lines of the outside, I get a finer pen, a finer ink pen. By the way, this is a disposable pen. Not actually disposable, you can actually recharge these ones, but they are very cheap, and it's not, you know, it's not actually necessary to buy ink to, you know, recharge them. It's just better to throw them away and buy new ones. I do have other pens and brushes and stuff, but I'm not the best inker, so I like to do them with this because it gives me more precision. And so once I'm done with the outlines and the inside lines, I erase the whole pencil, the whole pencil lines from the back, so I can start doing this shading lines. The reason why I only do the shade lines once I have erased all the pencil lines is because even though the eraser doesn't erase properly the ink, it still does a little bit. You know, it still feels like it's a little faded. So it is good to do that beforehand. And now I'm done with most of the inking, or actually I'm done with the inking, and I'm gonna start to color it. Since I never color any of the Dragon Ball Z characters before, it's good to have some reference by your side. I really like references, don't you? It's always good to have something around when you need to draw something that you really want to draw. Anyways, another good tip is always keep a piece of paper underneath your hand so you won't get the whole picture smudged. That works not only with coloring pencils, also with regular pencils as well, when you're drawing the drawing. For the first part of coloring, I'm concerned on setting the base colors for the whole of the character, and since most of what the character is showing us here is the skin, then I take a very light skin tone to apply all over the body. And I'm concerned with the value of the drawing. I'm concerned with where is the light source. Since he has his key all around him, then the light source is pretty much everywhere, and most of the outlines or the very, you know, the bumpy muscles and everything, those are the parts that are gonna be very light or lighter than most of the other parts. And all the other parts, like the inside of the arms and underneath the chest, underneath each one of the abdominal muscles, those are the places that you're gonna get a darker shade of color. After that, I used a very light brown and no ochre color to bring out the drawing a little more, to make it stand out a little more. You can see that it looks much better now than it did when I was done with the base color, with the first color that I picked, you know? You just use the darker tones of color to, you know, to give a little more depth to the shadowy parts, you know. Anyways, for the hair, I'm using two different tones of yellow, a lighter yellow and a darker yellow, and I also use a little bit of orange, as you can see right now, you know, to do a little bit of the darker parts, bits of it. For the eyes and the mouth, I use a little bit of a light blue, because there is no such thing as complete white, plain white. The white always reflect a little bit of the color around him, of the environment color, and that's why I use the blue to do a little bit of that shading. For the pants, I'm using a light orange and a light yellow, because his pants are very orange when he's not Super Saiyan, but they turn a little yellowish when he becomes Super Saiyan, and that's also done. That also happens because of the key, which is yellow orangey around him, and that's why I use those two colors. For the bracelets and the belt, I use two shades of blue, a light blue and a darker blue. And for the background, there's not so much mystery about this background. I've only drawn some stones and the key and a little bit of the dust coming from the bottom. And so for the stones, I use an ochre color, a beige color. For the dust as well, and I'm using also a Prismacolor pen, and I'm not too concerned on filling the whole of the background, because I decided to do, in the middle of this process, I decided to try and risk something, and later on I'm gonna get a little bit of water to actually water the whole picture. These are actually watercolor pencils. I was not intending to do that beforehand, but I decided to do it now. This pen that I'm using now, it's also watercolor. You can also watercolor it. So as you can see now, I take the water, I take the sponge and the brush. I'm not very used to doing this, but that's the thing about drawing, people. Like sometimes you have to take risks and see where they're gonna get you to. Sometimes it's a little scary to do that, but you know what? If you don't do it, you're not gonna evolve. If you don't take risks and do something that you're not used to, you're not gonna get better. And that's why I did it. That's why I made it, and I actually like the result. Well, that's it from me for now. I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys dig this one. This tutorial. It was not much of a tutorial. It was more of a time lapse with some tips. But I'm definitely gonna be doing more from now on. And if you do like, then subscribe and add to favorites and all that stuff. And you guys will be hearing more from me. Thank you very much for watching this. I'll see you on the next video, or see you whenever I come back. Bye.
Yo!